Have you tried all the YouTube advice for starting your channel and recording yourself, but it's just not working? You still get overwhelmed. You still go into freeze. You still get so nervous and anxious that you just can't record yourself. Have you started thinking, well, if none of the advice works for me, then maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe I'm just not built for YouTube. If you're a sensitive creator, if you struggle with anxiety or have complex trauma, it's not that you can't do this. You can. It's just that the typical advice for how to start and grow a channel might not work for you. Most of the Grow on YouTube channels barely touch on the fears that people have about recording themselves and all the ways the fear can show up, like perfectionism, avoidance, and freeze. That's what my videos are all about. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how I shifted my perspective, which made it so much easier to record myself and post videos on YouTube. This didn't just help me grow my first channel to over 17,000 subscribers. It also changed the way I approach my whole life. Hello, I'm Isaac, and I'm a sensitive creator with complex trauma. And this is Deep by Design. Let's talk about it. So back in 2021, I started coaching with Lauren Sapala, who was an INFJ writing coach at the time. If you're an INFJ or INFP, you should really check out her channel. She's amazing. But I had recently discovered that I was an INFJ and a highly sensitive person. And even though I was interested in writing more fiction, we talked mainly about being an INFJ and how that was impacting my life. It was answering a lot of questions about why I had always felt so different from everyone else, and why I was burning out so severely in my corporate tech job. I didn't know about complex trauma yet, which was the biggest missing piece in my life, but learning that I was an INFJ was a big first step in understanding myself. And during our second Zoom call, she dropped a bomb on me, though she didn't know it at the time. She was explaining how things would be inconvenient for me as an INFJ. She was telling me that I wouldn't always be able to do the things that other people did. I would need to protect my energy levels in ways that other people didn't need to. I would need to work on my boundaries at work and in my personal life. I would need to listen to my body and my intuition instead of blindly pushing past my nervous system all the time, which is how I'd been living my life up until then. And in the middle of all of this, she just very casually said something like, and you know, because you're not normal, this means X, Y, and Z. I don't remember the rest of it, but I remember those 3 words, you're not normal. They might not sound like much, or they might even sound a little insulting, but they were some of the most important words anyone had ever said to me. At the time, it felt like she had reached through the screen and slapped me across the face. I was in shock after that call. Those words opened up room for me to investigate myself in a way I never had before. The next day, I got on calls for work like usual, but I started looking at the whole experience with fresh eyes. I started asking myself questions like, what are the things that are normal for others but are making me miserable? How am I treating myself in this situation, on this call? How can I approach this situation in a different way? Going out to parties and social events, even going to the grocery store, felt completely different. I noticed that I had so many uncomfortable feelings in so many situations. And instead of feeling this subconscious shame about not being like everyone else, I felt like I had permission to be different. I had always tried to keep up with everyone else, tried to act like everyone else, and worst of all, I tried to feel like everyone else. But I always felt behind and deficient and not good enough. And with those 3 words, I felt different, but in a neutral way. There was no evaluation or judgment. It's just a fact. I am different. I am different than most people. It was an identity shift that shook me on a deep level. And just to be clear, it didn't take my problems away. If anything, it just made me more aware of how hard life was for me, because I wasn't hiding all this stuff from myself anymore. What it did was help with the judgmental and critical thoughts about myself. Over time, I went from I'm deficient to I am different. So what does all this have to do with YouTube? Well, if you are a sensitive or anxious creator, then you are different from the majority of people in the world, which means the typical YouTuber advice is probably not going to work for you, and that is okay. I watch a lot of creators who talk about how to grow on YouTube, and I've tried so many systems and methods, and barely any of them ever work for me because I'm different, because I'm highly sensitive with complex trauma. That's why I started this channel. That's why I offer coaching. Because we are a group of people who have been left out. Not on purpose. It's just that you have to have lived as a highly sensitive person, as a person with complex trauma, to understand what it's like. You are not broken. You are not wrong. And you are built for YouTube. You're just built for it in your own unique way that's different from other people. You just need to approach it in a way that works with your sensitivity and your nervous system. So I learned to own that I'm not normal. And once I accepted it, I could make better choices. I could record videos and live my life in ways that work much, much better for me. So if you're still watching, then there's something in this video that resonates with you. And if so, then I want you to really hear this. I know how hard it is to face the lens of a camera. I know how painful it is to want to be on YouTube and share all that you are called to share, but then struggle to do it in a way that doesn't trigger your nervous system. I'm here to tell you that I am living proof that we can make videos in a way that feels aligned with who we are, that respects our nervous system and the anxiety and fear and emotional flashbacks and all the other symptoms of complex trauma that we deal with every day. And when we finally get there, it can feel more satisfying and fulfilling than we ever thought possible. This is what I live for. This is why I coach sensitive creators. And if you'd like to learn more about coaching with me, or you'd like to set up a free intro call, there's a link in the description. And if you've been thinking about recording, but you were stopped by a thought like, who am I to share my voice on YouTube? Then check out this video here, where I talk about why that happens and the 3 things that can help. You can also find it in the description. Thank you for watching. I'm Isaac, and this channel is Deep by Design. I'm really glad you're here. Until the next one, be kind to yourself and take good care.